What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these. Beautiful, delicious, juicy, plump, British, amazing Cumberland sausage. Coming up. This is some meat. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some pork butt and some pork belly, which we're just gonna get cubed up as we usually do when it comes to making sausage. And that's because today we're taking a look at the Cumberland sausage, which is a famous sausage over in England. And when we were traveling in the UK, we had them several times, and they are very tasty. They're kind of similar to a breakfast sausage, but not really. It's a coarser grind, slightly different flavor profile, and there's a lot more binder and filler in there, which sounds kind of weird, but it really does add up to a fantastic texture and flavor. And lucky for us, it's protected by the government, so there's a whole write-up on how it's made and how to make it authentically. So we know all the proper seasonings and spices that should go into it. So hopefully I don't screw this up, but I did skim it. So all the Brits will have to let me know in the comment section down below. But to start out, we're just gonna break these down so they fit into our meat grinder a little bit easier. And just like that, all cubed up. So now I'm gonna put this in the fridge to stay nice and cold until we're ready to grind. And when it comes to Cumberland sausage, or a lot of sausages made over in the UK, they use an ingredient called rusk, which is essentially a twice-baked bread, something along the lines of a biscotti or something like that, crumbled down, used as their filler slash binder. And it's much more absorbent and gives a much better texture than typical breadcrumbs you're gonna find on the shelf here in the States. But we can't find rusk here in the States, so we're gonna have to make our own based off of a recipe I saw by Scott Ree here on YouTube. And to do so seems pretty easy. So to start out, into a bowl we go with some all-purpose flour, some salt, and some baking powder. And get that all evenly combined. And then in with some water. Super simple recipe here, folks. No yeast or anything like that. And we're just gonna get this all mixed up and hydrated. And once it all starts coming together, we're gonna knead it for just a minute to make sure everything is hydrated and comes into a cohesive dough ball, adding more water if we need to. And once it's all come together, it looks something like this. Definitely not the most appealing looking thing in the world, but pretty dry, which is a good thing because we are trying to dry this out and make breadcrumbs at the end of the day anyway. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this rest for about 10-15 minutes to relax that gluten so we can roll it out. And once rested, we're gonna roll it out to, I don't know, half an inch thick or so. And once rolled out, onto a baking sheet we go. And now I'm gonna pop this into a 450-degree oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. And just like that, coming out of the oven, ow, looking pretty weird. Not all that appetizing right now, but we're gonna go ahead and slice this up. Taking a look at it, looks like a pretty decent bread for as few ingredients as it is. Looks pretty cool. But now back onto our baking sheet we go. And now we're just gonna start drying this out. So back into the oven, I dropped the temp down to about 375. We're gonna just bake it off at 10 minutes, probably give these a flip. And we're not trying to toast them too much or anything like that, but we really want these to be super dry so we can turn them into breadcrumbs. So another 10 minutes in the oven. After 10 minutes, starting to look drier, I'm gonna go ahead and flip all these over and just keep this process going until these are feeling nice and dry. And just like that, out of the oven these come looking nice and dry. I've been kind of snapping them along the way to make sure that they are in fact nice and dry. And if you want to be super lazy about this, you could just park these in a dehydrator overnight or a low oven, make very hands-off work out of it. But I'm gonna let these cool down and then we're gonna grind them up. Got the food processor out, gonna be busting out this, which is a little cheese grating die, which should make very quick work of this. And through we go. And there we have it, folks, my first attempt at some homemade rusk. And now I'm gonna send this through a fine mesh sieve here just to get out any of the super fine particulates. Smells good. And just like that, our homemade rusk for sausage making is done. Let's get the rest of our spices together, which include some kosher salt, some freshly cracked black pepper, some white pepper, some sage, ground thyme, mace, nutmeg, cayenne, and of course, our rusk. And as far as I've seen, rusk is a pretty high percentage, anywhere from 5 to 10%. I'm gonna go on the high end today because I really do like that texture. It's a little more succulent and soft. And of course, it'll help with the bind as well. Ooh, that smells good. But we're just gonna get that all nice and mixed up. Beautiful. And now that our meat is nice and cold, through the meat grinder we go. Had this meat in the freezer for the last little bit, so it is nice and cold to make sure we get a nice clean grind. And we're going through the coarse die because this is a coarse ground sausage. We're just gonna send it through one time. Beautiful, nice, clean grind on that. Looking very nice, good amount of fat content, but not too fatty. I believe a proper Cumberland sausage is supposed to be about an 80-20 meat to fat ratio. We might have gone over that a little bit, but I'm okay with it because we got plenty of rusk. So spices and all are going in, and all this bread should really absorb any fat that renders out and any liquids in the meat, which should give us a really nice texture. But we're gonna make sure that is all evenly distributed, and then we're gonna go in with our water. Typical 10% by weight ratio, and we're gonna mix this up until it is nice and tacky. Ooh, that is cold. And just like that, after some mixing, looking nice and sticky, nice and tacky. So now, we gotta case it up. Going on with some natural hog casings today, which is interesting because I always thought they were in sheep casings, but after doing some research, they are in fact hog casings, but they're a smaller diameter. I think the minimum width is 20 millimeters, which is kind of hard to find small hog casings around these parts, so these are 28 mil, so that's all we got. But if these come out good, I probably will make some with sheep casings, because those are tasty too. Tie it off. Snip the tip, and we case away. Now, traditional Cumberland sausage is sold in a coil, which I thought was pretty interesting, because I thought I was gonna be making some little breakfast sausage style little tiny links, but that is not the way. But I'm not gonna make these coils huge. Thinking something like that looks pretty good to me. I'm also gonna case these a little bit looser than I typically do because there's so much breadcrumbs in there, and bread has a tendency to expand when it's put into a sausage, and I don't want these to all blow out, so not nearly as plump as I typically do, just to mitigate the blowout factor when we're cooking these, but I guess we'll have to find out and see how we do. But so far, I'm liking this process, you know? Pretty different than what I typically put into sausage links, and it definitely feels pretty firm from all the binders in there, but that is what we're going for. So we're just gonna knock these all out. And it is funny to notice that this was a 3-pound batch of sausage, but this whole thing basically filled up because of the amount of fillers in there, which is probably why rusk started being used in the first place, you know, stretch that meat a little bit further. And just like that, all cased up, looking nice and plump, looking pretty good. And I did cave and I made some regular links in the back here anyway with what was left, just because these are a lot easier to vac seal and freeze for when I wanna cook these up later. But now I'm gonna go ahead and pop these into the fridge overnight, which is not entirely necessary. You know, there's no pink salt or anything in here that needs to cure, but there's some dry herbs in there that will benefit from hydrating. The breadcrumbs will hydrate, which will be nice for the bind, and the salt will start working on the meat, and the casings will dry out, and you know, just resting these overnight will make everything better. So we'll check back in on these tomorrow. This video is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep makes premium quality mattresses and bedding customized to fit your needs, conveniently shipped right to your door. Helix offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe, their ultra-premium Elite collection, the Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers, and they even have a line for kids that are endorsed by child sleep and medical experts. Everybody is different, and Helix knows this, so they created the Sleep Quiz, where you simply go to their website, fill out some basic information like your sleeping preferences, mattress firmness, and things like that, and you'll be matched with the perfect mattress for you. I took the quiz with Brooke, and because she's a side sleeper and I'm a back sleeper, we were matched with the Helix Sleep Dusk Luxe mattress. And I gotta tell you, it is the best mattress I have ever had. Incredibly comfortable, holds up very well. I've had it for like 3 or 4 years at this point, and it's just as comfortable as the day I got it. I've also convinced several of my friends to get Helix mattresses, and everyone that has one absolutely loves it. It truly is the best mattress I've ever had. And I've never slept better. We also opted to get the Glaciotex cooling cover for our mattress because I tend to run pretty hot, especially when sleeping. And here in Texas, it gets pretty toasty sometimes. And the cover works incredibly well, keeping me nice and cool and giving me the best sleep of my life. But probably the best part about the Helix mattress is that it's shipped right to your door in a very manageable sized box. They basically vac seal all the air out of it, so it's a really small footprint when it arrives at your door, making it very easy to get it up a flight of stairs. Then you unbox it, break the vac seal, and watch it come back to life. And it really takes a lot of headache out of getting a king size mattress up a flight of stairs. And it's super convenient. And if you're nervous about getting a mattress you haven't tried before, Helix offers a 100-night sleep trial, so you have more than 3 months to make sure you like it. I love my Helix, and I know you will too, so if you're in the market for the best bed of your life, go to helixsleep.com/Chuds BBQ. The President's Day sale is running right now for a limited time, so it's a great time to upgrade your mattress by going to helixsleep.com/Chuds BBQ to get 20% off your mattress. Again, that's helixsleep.com/Chuds BBQ to get 20% off your mattress, and be sure to check the Helix site later this month for an exclusive partner offer. Thank you, Helix. 1 overnight rest later. These wieners are looking very nice and plump. They've definitely dried out a little bit, feeling a little more tacky. So now I'm gonna go ahead and snip these apart and start trimming up these ends now that they've dried out a little bit. And just like that, our Cumberland sausages are good to go. All we're gonna do now is cook them. And to do so, you could do whatever you want. You could throw them on the smoker if you wanted a little extra smoky flavor. I think traditionally they're just cooked in a pan until browned and cooked through. Get those fats rendered out a little bit, get some color on them and see how they taste. So let's go ahead and fire up the grill. And on the grill we go. Got the griddle fired up over here. And we're just gonna pop these down and let these brown up on all sides. Try not to cook them too fast because we don't want them to burn before the insides get cooked. But we just wanna get some good color, make sure they're cooked through. And if they do brown up really quickly, I'll just move them on the indirect side, shut the lid and let them finish cooking through that way. Smells really good already too. One by one, these guys are coming off and finishing over on this side. I've shut the lid and let them kind of continue cooking over here for the last 10, 15 or so, which really helped the color, kind of all around coverage instead of just the rings where they're touching the grate. But these are looking very nice. And yeah, most of these did in fact explode, but not much juice has come out. You know, there's not a lot of grease on the plancha here, which is great because I've been probing a lot of these with my thermometer to see what temp they're rocking at. And I don't have to worry about them popping and squirting juice all over the place. So very good recipe if you want to avoid sausage squirtage. But just like that, all these guys are cooked through and coming off to rest down a little bit. And so far, this has been a very pleasant sausage cooking and making experience. Pretty happy about it. I will say these ones are a little harder to cook than the regular sized ones, and they definitely did not stay all curled up, but that's okay. So I'm gonna let these rest down for a little bit and we'll slice on in. And now that these beautiful looking links have cooled down, let's go ahead and slice in and see what they look like. Looking pretty good right off the bat. Got a nice coarse grind to it, which is indicative of a Cumberland sausage. Pretty happy with how that's looking. Definitely feeling nice and firm, nice and plump as it were. It smells absolutely fantastic. Like the spices are coming through. Looks nice and juicy. Let's get a cross section, shall we? And there you have it, looking very nice. You can see all the little chunks of rusk in there. That's pretty sweet. I can actually see them swelled up, holding in all the fat and juices. Pretty cool, but definitely smells unlike a lot of the sausages I've made in the past. Get a few more slices here and then we'll have to give it a taste. All right, I think that's enough sausage to get a little taste test going. I'm sick of waiting because this smells so good, but yeah, let's dive in. Yep. Oh, that is fantastic. I'm going immediately right back. Oh yeah, that is so flavorful. One more. I like it. That is the exact texture that I've been searching for ever since I got back from the UK. That is phenomenal. I've tried using breadcrumbs, I've tried using milk powders and different binders all the time, but there's something just so unique about that rusk, both in texture and flavor. That is phenomenal. I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like the sausage balls I made the other day, which is sausage and flours mixed together, except not as bready, even though it's literally got bread in it. It's just juicy, plump, and not messy. I think that's my favorite part about these links that I've had over there is like, they're juicy and they got that mouthfeel from all the fat, but nothing's dripping down your arm when you snap it. It doesn't shoot everywhere. It's all contained, making for one very tasty sausage. Oh, it's so good. I mean, it's a sage sausage cooking on a griddle. Of course, it's gonna smell like breakfast, but it doesn't taste like it at all. Right off the bat, it's got a lot more kick than I was expecting, which shouldn't be surprising. There's 2 types of pepper and cayenne in there, but the heat level is perfect for me. It's a little background heat, but I suppose our breakfast sausage also has background heat in the form of red chili flakes, but very well balanced. Nice and herby too. Oh, I'm gonna make this again, probably tomorrow. I don't know why we don't see these more here in Texas. You know, it's got so much black pepper in there, a little bit of kick from the cayenne, hog casing, nice plump, juicy sausage. But I could also see this being used for literally any meal of the day, any occasion, any time. This is just a very good bite. I love that texture. It's so good. Very snackable too. And when I say I'm surprised I don't see these more in Texas, I say that because it's kind of similar to a Texas barbecue link. You know, it's coarsely ground, nice plump hog casing, very snappy, a lot of black pepper in there. But I guess that makes sense because a lot of our sausages here in Texas are inspired by German sausages from German settlers. And I'm pretty sure this sausage was also invented by Germans who were working in the slate mines over in Cumbria back in the 1800s. So, I mean, all sausages go back to Germans eventually, but that is a fantastic link right there. Highly recommend this one. Does it snap? Not really. Look at that. Look at that. So meaty. So juicy. Rusk, where have you been all my life? I'm not sure if I want to dip this in mustard or if I want to dip this in maple syrup. The world is yours. This does have a pretty significant kick to it though. I mean, I'm not sweating or anything, right? But beware of that if you make this recipe for yourself. You might want to tone that back a little bit, but I'm pretty wimpy when it comes to heat and I'm having no problems here. This, right off the bat, is my favorite sausage that I've made in a very long time. Definitely making some of these again. And I wish I didn't cook most of them, because I need to bring some of these to Bones. But before I eat the rest of these off camera, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely incredible Cumberland sausage and homemade rusk. I highly recommend giving this one a try, especially if you're in the sausage making world. That rusk is unlike any other binder I've ever used, because it's not just a binder, it's also really good at water and moisture retention, so all the water in the meat, the water that we added, and all the rendered fat just stays in there, leading up to a very unique, textured, and incredibly flavorful sausage that is definitely in the top 3 of my favorite sausage recipes, at least that I can think of at the moment, and definitely something I'll be making again very soon. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.